and received me very Vasudeva, Bhagavati, and Nandarani. Remember, I visited you in your house many years ago. And they would receive me everywhere. There was just like prasadam everywhere. Not that I'm very attached to the tongue, but this giving prasadam and receiving prasadam were symptoms of love, according to Rupa Goswami. So I just felt overwhelmed by the devotees' interactions with me and with interactions with each other. And I think that's really the clue or the key to the success of this yatra and the future success of this yatra. Then when we started to finish up the temple, as I mentioned, I was appointed in the final stage. I mean, basically, most of the other devotees like Vasudeva and Parshuram did all the work. You know, as we heard, Parshuram Prabhu raised one way or the other the majority of funds, and Vasudeva also a great deal of funds, provided the property and so many things. But what struck me more than anything else was not the building per se, but again, the loving interactions with the devotees. And when we were finishing up the temple, it was so blissful, even though the devotees were working so hard, even though devotees were sacrificing their own happiness to finish up this temple, it was like a big teamwork. And there was so much loving interaction between the devotees. When one devotee was climbing up on the top to finish the kalashes, another devotee was putting the gold leaf on the kalashes, another devotee was painting the deities, another devotee was finishing the kitchen, and another devotee was getting the magazine ready for publication, the opening magazine. But it was all like a team. And I just fell in love with those days. And so, my point is that, as Parshuram Prabhu said, it's more difficult to keep a temple running than to open up a temple. Because opening up a temple is a lot of excitement and natural teamwork. But when you want to keep something running long term, it requires the mode of goodness. The mode of goodness is really hard to attain in this Kali Yuga. In the mode of passion, something new is coming, and you enjoy the new fact of that coming. You're building, you're creating, you're artistic. We have the paintings here on the wall, we have the paintings on the wall. Very exciting. But goodness means the same thing every day, isn't it? The same arti every day. You're not installing new deities every day. The same kitchen every day. The same devotees every day. What else the same? The same problems every day. The same treasurer not around every day. Anyway, so it requires being more internal to be enthusiastic. Because really we need to be enthusiastic to advance in Krishna consciousness. Another verse by Rupa Goswami is Utsaham Nistya Daryat Tatat Karma Pravartana. One must be enthusiastic, patient, and determined to advance in Krishna consciousness. But to be enthusiastic long-term in the mode of goodness means one has to develop their internal life. Internal life means appreciation of Radha and Krishna's pastimes, and more than anything else, the love for the other Vaishnavas. Because it's very elevated to just be absorbed in Radha and Krishna 24 hours a day. Very few of us are able to achieve that exalted state. But we can work on loving each other. And if each and every one of us establishes that same mood that we had in Asinu, the same mood we had when opening up the temple, doing something new, the teamwork mood, then, in the same mood that I was experiencing when I visited Vasudeva in his house, I visited Parshuram in his house, I stayed at Vishwanath's house, I visited other people in their houses, then it will be very easy to fill this temple, as Nandakishore stated. He wanted to fill this temple with so many devotees that they lined out on the street, in the parking lot, trying to get into the temple. That will be very easy. Extremely easy, because Prabhupada said that we have a loving propensity And that loving propensity can be fully fulfilled. That's why we're unhappy, because we're not fulfilling that loving propensity. That can be fulfilled unlimitedly in relationship to Krishna. And I'm extending that to say in relationship to Krishna's devotees too. Then there'll be no trouble in having all the services filled. There'll be no trouble in filling this temple. There'll be no trouble in getting enough money to maintain the temple. It will simply do this one thing. And that's the most satisfying thing that we can do. And of course, it's not an artificial imposition on the mind. It comes from spiritual advancement, from chanting. It's not that you just chant George Harrison's song, all you need is love, love, all you need is love. It doesn't happen like that. But you have to chant Krishna's holy name sincerely. Every one of us should take this as an injunction, an instruction, to take as the most serious thing we do, the most important thing we do in life, is to chant Krishna's name without offense, seriously, with great attention, and then you will be capable of manifesting this compassion and love for all living entities, and our movement will go on unlimitedly. And as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, and exhibited, the Supreme Court justices in the land will all be wearing tilak. That's our success. Not just a few devotees here. We want Fiji to be the first Krishna conscious country. In a non-denominational way. We're not advocating conversion or anything like that. To accept the basic principles of Krishna consciousness. To love each other. And I was very much appreciating what Parashurama said about praying for the soldiers that have been taken captive. Because it is important that we love, as Krishna says, Yasmin Sarvani Bhutani Atmana Ivana Pashati Sarva Bhuteshu Chatrana Pratona Vimuchate. We should love all living entities and pray for these soldiers, pray for mankind, pray for these conflicts in the world,